The footsteps outside the door grew louder. Someone was knocking on the door, demanding that I open it. "It's them," he whispered, trembling. "They've come for us." I tried to get up, but he grabbed my arm. "Don't come out," he said. "They'll take you away." "Who are they?" I asked. He stopped talking, and silence fell in the basement. "They're the ones who created this place," he finally replied. "They said we should stay." I heard the door to the house open. "Who's there?" I shouted. There's no response. Only footsteps on the stairs. "They're here," he whispered. "Run to the basement." He dragged me to the far wall, where there was a narrow passage leading to a dark corridor. "There's a way out," he said. "But you have to choose. Where's the exit?" "I don't know, but it's better than staying." I followed him. The corridor was narrow, the walls were made of raw stone. Finally, we stopped in front of a door covered with a rusty grate. "This is the last chance," he said. "If you open it, you won't be able to come back." I put the key in the lock, the one I found in the box. The grate opened with a bang, and I saw a staircase leading up. "Run," he said, "and don't look back." I started to get up. The steps were slippery with damp. At the top, a door led to another basement, a strange, unfamiliar one. I stopped. "Why are you helping me?" I shouted down. "Because I want to leave too," I heard him whisper. "But I can't." I went out into the new basement. There was an old suitcase full of keys in the corner. I took one and opened the door. There was a garden behind it, the night, the moon, and the road in the distance. I ran without looking back. But there was a letter in his pocket. "You are not free," it said. "They're still here." I don't understand what that means. Only now do I see that there are scratches on my hands, and there are keys in my pocket that I didn't put there myself. And tonight in the dark, I heard footsteps again, that I ran along the road until I stopped from exhaustion. The sun had already risen, but there was a letter in my pocket that I couldn't read in the dark. "You are not free," it said. "They're still here." Are they the ones who created this place? Or is he the one who helped me get out? I tried to remember his face. In the basement, he took off his mask, but I didn't have time to make out the features. I just had a glimpse of something familiar. I found a phone booth at the end of the street. I dialed the police number, but they didn't pick up the phone. Then I went to the store to buy food. In the store, the salesman looked at me strangely. "You're not from this area," he said. "No one has lived here for a long time." "What do you mean he doesn't live?" "This place is abandoned. No one has been coming here for 20 years. I froze. 20 years. Yes. The last resident disappeared in 2003. I went outside, feeling the ground give out from under my feet. There was a letter in his pocket again. "You're not free." I went back to the house I bought, but he was gone. In its place is a wasteland overgrown with grass. I found an old local man sitting on a bench. "This place is cursed," he said. "In the 80s, there was a man who lived here." "What?" "He disappeared, leaving a diary. There were names. And the keys." I pulled the keys out of my pocket. "Have you seen these?" The old man nodded. "These are the keys to the basement." "But there is no basement. The house burned down many years ago." I felt the cold seep into my bones. "How? How can you know that?" "I lived there," he coughed, "before everything disappeared." I remembered the letter. "They're coming for us." Footsteps sounded in the distance. The old man stood up and looked in the same direction. The old man stood up and looked in the same direction as the footsteps. "You have to leave," he repeated. "They're already here." I backed away, but he grabbed my arm. "Wait." I exhaled. What is this place? Why is everything repeating itself? He froze, and I saw fear in his eyes. "This is not the place," he whispered. "This cycle. They created it so that we couldn't escape." I felt the cold seep into my bones. "Who are they?" "Those who live in basements," he replied. "The ones who stayed." The footsteps were getting closer. Now I've heard them from everywhere, from the side of the house, from the street, even from underground. "They've come for you," the old man said. "You have to understand that you are not the first person to come here." I tried to break away from him and run, but my feet seemed rooted to the ground. Why? I shouted. Why is everything repeating itself? Because it's not a house, he replied. This. He didn't finish. A man in a gray mask came around the corner of the house. Him, I thought. The one who helped me get out. You shouldn't have come back, he said. Now everything will happen again. The old man tried to grab him, but he staggered back. You can't stop them, the old man whispered. They'll make you stay. I backed away, but I ran into a wall. What do you want from me? You have to stay, he replied. It's the law. What law? The law of the cycle, said the old man. Everyone who comes here becomes a part of history. He took off his mask. I froze. You haven't changed, the old man whispered. 20 years. I can't get away, he said. Just like you. I looked at my hands. The scratches merged into familiar patterns, the same ones that were on the basement walls. What is this place? I asked again. This. The old man paused, looking at him. It's a place where everything repeats itself. He stepped forward. You have to stay, he repeated, or they'll take you away. Who? The ones who created it, the old man replied. Those who come for us. The footsteps blended into one rhythm. No, I whispered. Yes, said he. You're already here. He pulled on my arm. Let's go, he said. It's time to start over. And I felt the ground begin to cave in under my feet that I woke up on the edge of the road. The sun was shining brightly, and there was no house, no old man, and no one I called him. There was a letter in my pocket, and I tore it up without reading it, but I still have my keys in my pocket. I got up and walked toward the city. My legs carried me to the center, where the old store stood. There was no one inside, but there was a letter behind the counter. You didn't leave, it said. You're part of a cycle. Everyone who comes here is next on the list. You saw their names in the basement. They're not victims. These are the ones who, like you, failed to understand the truth. I sat down on the floor. My ears were ringing, but I remembered the old man's words. This place is cursed. Cursed or just forgotten. I went outside and saw a billboard. There was a picture of a house I bought on it. A house that no longer existed. For sale, the ad read. I suddenly realized this is not a house. It's a trap, and I'm not the only one who got into it. I went to the police station. The officer looked at me with a grin. You're here again, he said. We've already talked about this. No, I said. I haven't been here before. You came here 20 years ago, he nodded. Or maybe it was another you. I froze. What do you mean? He took out a file folder. The case of the house on the edge of the city. People were disappearing there. Everyone left their keys and a diary. I looked at my hands. The Xerox were clean. It's impossible, I whispered. Maybe, he replied. Time is not linear here. You come, you disappear, you come back. But why? The officer closed the folder. Because you are part of the system. You come to repeat the mistakes of the past. You're looking for a way out, but it doesn't exist. Then how? You can't break out until you realize that this is not the place. It's a metaphor. A metaphor for what? A metaphor of human nature. We always go back to the old mistakes. You come here to repeat history. I felt the ground give out from under my feet. You mean, what is it? An illusion? It's real, he replied. A reality where we cannot escape our fears. You come here to realize that you cannot be saved until you accept the truth. You are not a prisoner of the cycle. You're part of the cycle. You come here again and again because you're afraid to move forward. You're afraid of life, so you stay in this place where you can see your mistakes but not fix them. I went outside. The sun was shining as brightly as before. I didn't know what to do, but the keys were in his pocket again. I threw them on the ground, and suddenly I realized these are not keys. It's a watch. The watch I wore 20 years ago. I looked at myself in the store's mirror. I was 20 years younger. I remembered the first time I came here, how I bought a house, how I found the diary, and I realized I'm still there. I just didn't want to admit it to myself. I went back to the road. An old man was standing there. "You're here again," he said. "It's time to start over." "No," I replied. "I'm staying." He looked at me in surprise. "You can't. You have to come back." "Why?" "Because it's your choice." "Then I choose to stay." He froze. "You don't understand." "I understand," I interrupted. "It's not a trap. This is a test, and I'm going through it." I walked toward the house I saw in the ads. For sale, I thought, but I didn't buy it. I just walked by, and for the first time in 20 years, I heard the whisper of the wind instead of footsteps in the basement. I do not know what will happen next, but for the first time in a long time, I felt free. "Now," she said, and abruptly released me. "Go to the garden. There's an old tunnel there. It leads to the forest." I didn't know what kind of tunnel it was, but there was nowhere to run. I nodded and turned to the stairs. But when I went up to the second floor, the house seemed to come alive. The walls were whispering. They didn't whisper. They rustled like old pages that I touched in the basement. The ceilings hung down as if crushing me. I got to my room and grabbed my backpack. All this time I heard footsteps behind me, muffled, but I didn't look back. "You're not alone," a voice whispered outside the door. I froze. It was Tom's voice, but it didn't sound the same as before. "I've been waiting for you," he said. I didn't answer. My heart was pounding in my chest, as if it wanted to burst out. "They want you to stay." Tom's voice sounded everywhere now. From under the bed, from behind the door, from under the floor. I grabbed my backpack and ran out into the hallway. The walls here were covered with cracks, as if the house was shrinking. "Stop," his mother's voice rang out. I turned around. She was standing at the bottom of the stairs, and her face was illuminated by the dim light. "You shouldn't go there," she said. "Why?" I asked. "Because they're waiting. Their children are now your children. You have to stay." I didn't understand what she meant, but the footsteps outside the basement door got louder. "Go," she whispered, "before it's too late." I rushed to the door, but when I opened it, Tom was standing in the doorway. "You're not leaving," he said, and his eyes were empty. I backed away. "They're waiting for you." His voice trembled, as if he were repeating someone's words. "Tom, it's me." He didn't answer. His face was calm, but there were lines trembling at the corners of his mouth, as if he was holding back laughter. "They're inside," he said. "Always inside." I couldn't wait any longer. I yanked the door open and ran outside. The night was dark without stars. The forest stood behind the house like a wall. "You're not leaving," the mother screamed. I didn't look back. He ran along the path leading to the river. Every step echoed in my ears, as if someone was whispering behind my back. "They're here," I thought. "They're always here." I reached the edge of the forest. The river was below, its waters black and still. "You have to choose," a voice said from behind. I stopped. It was his father's voice. "But he died." "You can't leave," he said. I turned around. "Why?" I asked. "Because this is your home," the voice sounded from behind the trees. "And you will always be here." I backed away, but the edge of the forest opened up in front of me. There was a house there. Our house. "You can't escape," his mother's voice rang out. "You're already here." I closed my eyes. "Help," I whispered. But there was no response. Only the whisper of the wind in the leaves. And footsteps behind him that I couldn't breathe. The forest around me was moving, as if the walls of the house had turned into trees. I ran, but I still ended up on the same path leading to the house. The voices of his mother and father sounded everywhere, in the wind, in the rustle of leaves, in his own breathing. "You have to stay," his father's voice said. "They're waiting," his mother would say. I stopped, leaning against a tree. Its bark was wet, as if the forest was crying. "It's not you," I whispered. "Who is it then?" asked Tom. I whirled around. He was standing 3 steps away from me, his face as pale as a corpse's, but his eyes were laughing. "You're not my brother," I said. "I am your brother," he replied. "Have you forgotten?" I backed away, but he took a step forward. "You have to come back," he said. "They're getting your room ready." I asked, but he had already disappeared. I looked around. The forest tightened around me. The bushes clung to my clothes as if they wanted to stop me. A river appeared in the distance. "It's safe there," I whispered to myself. But when I got closer to the water receded. The river widened, and I saw our house on the opposite bank. "You can't run away," his father's voice rang out. I couldn't see him, but I knew he was somewhere nearby. "You're already here," said the voice. I stood on the shore. The water was pitch black. I took off my shoes and stepped into the water. "Don't be silly," his mother's voice rang out. "You're going to drown." But I didn't stop. The water was icy, it burned my feet. "You can't swim across," she said. "There are currents there." I didn't believe it. All this time, I thought that the house was walls and windows. But now I realized that he was alive. He's breathing, he's thinking, he's waiting. "You're not alone," I whispered. "No," replied a voice from under the water. I looked down. The water was clear, and I saw them. Bodies. The children's bodies that floated in the river. "They're here," I said. "We've always been here." The body trembled. The water rose as if the river was alive. "Help!" I shouted, but there was no response. "They're waiting," his father's voice whispered. I tried to swim, but the currents were stronger. "You have to come back," the mother said. "No," I whispered, but my body wasn't listening anymore. It went down into the darkness under the water. And then I saw him. House. He was standing on the shore as always. His windows glowed like eyes. "You're back," the mother said. But I didn't come back. I drowned. Or not, the water filled my lungs. Cold as steel. I tried to come up, but the currents were stronger. There were bodies floating around, children's bodies, as the mother said. Their hair fluttered like seaweed. "You have to stay," one of them whispered. I couldn't see the face, but the voice sounded like Tom. "Don't be silly," said another figure. The mother's voice. I tried to fight, but my arms wouldn't work. "The body is as heavy as a stone." I shouted, but the water drowned out my voice. Then I saw him. House. He was standing on the shore as always. The windows glowed like eyes. "Come back," he whispered. But I didn't come back. I drowned. Or not, I woke up. He was lying on the floor in his room. Sunlight flooded the window. Tom was asleep in his bed, his face calm. My mother was making breakfast. "Hello," she said. "You've been sleeping for a long time." I sat up in bed, my heart pounding in my chest. "You didn't drown?" I asked. "What do you mean?" My mother looked at me in disbelief. "In the river." "You didn't come out today," she said. "You've been asleep since this morning." I looked at my watch. 10 a.m. "I had a dream," I whispered. "Is everything okay?" asked Tom, waking up. "Yes," I lied. But in the bathroom, I saw myself in the mirror. My face was as pale as a corpse's. "You're already here," the reflection whispered. I couldn't look away. "You've always been here," my smile said. I closed my eyes, and when I opened them again, I was no longer alone. My mother was standing behind me. "You're still sleeping," she said. "No," I whispered. "You have to stay," she said. I backed away. "Where's Tom?" "He's already here," the mother replied. And then I felt hands behind my back. They're cold, strong ones, pulling me back. The hands behind my back were gripping me so tightly that my bones were numb. His mother stood behind him, her breath tickling his neck. "You can't escape," she said. I tried to pull away, but she tightened her grip on my fingers. "You have to stay," she repeated. I saw Tom in the mirror. He stood in the doorway, his face calm, but his eyes were empty. "They're waiting," he said. I didn't know who they were, but I realized that this was the end. "I'm not your brother," I whispered. "You are my brother," he replied. "You've always been my brother." I tried to scream, but my mother covered my mouth with her hand. "You're at home here," she said. Then I remembered the basement. Box. Diary. "Why did you do that?" I asked. "We couldn't be alone," the mother replied. "They're coming for you. And for us. And we have to be ready." I struggled with her hands. "Those who live here," she said. Those who are waiting. I didn't understand, but suddenly I smelled mold and rusty blood. The smell of the basement. You have to choose, the mother said. Stay or die. I couldn't breathe. Her hands were clutching her throat. I can't, I croaked. Then die, she said. At the same moment, I elbowed her in the stomach. My mother let me go, doubled over. You don't understand, she said. I rushed to the door, but Tom blocked the way. You're not leaving, he said. I punched him in the face. He fell, but immediately got up. You're not my brother, I shouted. You are my brother, he grabbed my hand. We fought like we did when we were kids, but now it wasn't a game. Help, I shouted, but there were no others in the house. Just us. You can't run away, said the mother, getting up. I tore myself out of Tom's arms and ran for the stairs. You have to stay, they shouted, that I didn't look back. He went downstairs into the hallway and yanked open the door. But there was no forest beyond it. There was a basement. I turned on the light. Everything was like yesterday. The box, the photo, the diary. You're here, his mother's voice rang out. She was standing in the doorway. This is your home, she said. You've always been here. I backed away. Why? I asked. Because they're waiting, she replied. Their children are now our children, and we have to be ready. I didn't understand, but suddenly I saw a photo on the floor. There was a boy there. I was on it, but the date in the corner is 1987. You're already here, the mother said. You've always been here. I fell to my knees. What should I do? I asked. Stay, she said, or die. I closed my eyes, and when I opened them again, I was no longer alone. Because it's the only way to win, she whispered. Now you're going to tell everyone. Tell them that I died because of them, and they will blame themselves. The last breath. Her eyes remained open, staring at the ceiling where the chandelier once hung. In the morning, the school declared mourning. The director cried at the meeting, talking about a tragic accident. Her diary was in my pocket. Last entry, he will believe in my death. He has to believe. And there was a surprise waiting for me on the roof of the gym, where I went up at night. Dozens of cans of clean air, arranged in the shape of a heart. And a note. Thank you for helping me disappear. Lucy. I can still hear her laughter in the ventilation. But now I know it's not a hallucination. It's her. Lively. Somewhere out there, outside the school that we destroyed. And afterward, for those who have watched to the end. Are you still breathing? Good. Bad. I don't know. If you hear a whisper in the vent, it's not Lucy. It's you. You're already part of the system, even if you haven't inhaled their poison. You ask questions, you look for answers, you look at the screens. And they're looking at you. Do you think this is the end? This is just the beginning. School is just a small piece of the puzzle. Tomorrow you will go to work, breathe in the air conditioner, drink water from the cooler, and you'll be thinking, what if? Don't look for Lucy. She's everywhere. In every message that you ignore. In every contract that you sign. In every case, it's okay, is when you're screaming inside that it's wrong. And when the ventilation turns on at night, listen. There's someone there. There always is. P.S. Turn off the sound. Immediately. They don't have to know what you're hearing.